Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to a Sunday night live stream here. I'm going to be able to open my blinds in a second. I have to do that before really the stream starts. If I have my blinds closed, you can't really tell when it turns dark, and it's annoying. It's an annoying thing. Thankfully, the sun is setting earlier now, so I don't have to deal with it. Don't have to deal with it as much. Your cat of 16 years passed away just a couple hours ago. Well, Brian, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that. The boomer host. Yeah, that woman. That lady is annoying. She was trying to get Rubio on. Oh, you're giving up everything to Putin. This talk is just so exhausting. Like, we have to sit here and do this thing where it's like, I don't even know what the left wants. They don't want to negotiate at all with Putin. Well, how is it going to be resolved? Please tell me how the situation is going to be resolved if we don't negotiate with Putin. It's just all so nonsensical. It's all such a charade, like this fake, oh, why would you talk to him? This is kind of how life works. You have to talk to foreign adversaries. Would you go to a Michigan home game for $1? The big house is nice. They'd have to face a good team though. You haven't gooned since Friday. Well, it's keep at it, man. That's good. You stay away from it. It gets to a point to where you don't want to do it. Once you get far enough away from it, but you got to build up the tolerance, and just at night but you got to build it up. You want me to cover the glowing red metallic liquid pouring out of the northwest corner of Two World Trade Center? I'll have to take a look at that. I'll have to look into that. You're a little worried about how Zelensky will act tomorrow. You have a feeling he might not even show up. No, I think he will show up in a suit for sure, because he's not going to want to make that be like this a distraction or anything. He'll show up in a suit, but the question is, is he going to change his position at all? I heard there's some security guarantees that Zelensky wants from Trump. And so if he gets that, and there is Russian troop withdrawal from two of the oblasts, I feel like it's moving in the right direction. What's the lore behind the whale enters? Well, Sean Cole. It originally started, the dude just donated once. The dude was donating once a night, and it would always be like $50, $30, $100. So I called him the whale. That's basically it. A whale is an investor that has a lot of money. How do foreign presidents not get assassinated when visiting an enemy territory? Because I mean, the ramifications of it and the repercussions of something like that would be so insane. Those countries don't want to deal with that, and they've got a crazy amount of security. They've got way more security than you or I even know. Yeah, I don't see Zelensky back. They're going to be cordial. I don't see Zelensky showing up and like, you show up in his tracksuit or whatever. I understand his country's at war, but obviously Trump has disdain for not coming in a suit. So you want to respect Trump, so you come in a suit. You don't want to start it off on the wrong foot before the meeting even really begins. I mean, this is going to be it's going to be interesting theater to watch, that's for sure. Hopefully it goes better. Thoughts on Vikings male cheerleaders? It's disturbing to look at. The NFL, you see the NFL, they're making the teams put a slogan on the back line of the end zone. They're still doing that. You'd think the NFL would give it up. It's like they have to put end racism, or there's like four other slogans they could pick from. So they're doing, the DEI pandering woke slop still, which I was surprised by, but it's like mandated by Goodell, I guess. Did you see Greta Thunberg screaming "Free Palestine"? Well, she's turning into a grifter now because she was the big, oh, it's we support, you know, it's all the climate change stuff. But I wonder if Greta Thunberg ever talked about China, because you know what? If you want to say you want to make an argument for climate change and stuff like that, the West really is getting it under control, whether you think it's real or not. The West has gotten their CO2 emissions at least linear, but China is exponentially growing their CO2 emissions. So that's why it's just so disingenuous. And even look at Canada. Canada is they've put a lot of money into lowering their CO2 emissions for what? Their country barely makes up like 1/100th of a percent in terms of the total CO2 emissions on Earth. But they have to invest all this money. That's why Alberta is so angry. You ever watch? No, I never really watched NHL hockey. Vance started the fight in the White House. Yeah, no, on February 28th when Zelensky came. You ever notice the mainstream media never really talks bad about China? Well, it's really hard to get any accurate information out of China. China's a tough country. People say they're always falling apart or they're always ahead of the United States, and I mean, their economy has been slowed. I think that it's in a state of recovery from their very strict COVID policy. But I mean, to what degree nobody really knows. Look at their indicators. Their indicators are all they're all fucked up. Yeah, I mean, it's just pandering. Putting that logo thing, it's just pandering. That's all it is. It's just performance art. What do you think Putin was thinking when the B-2 bomber flew by? His neck almost snapped. Well, he knew Trump was it's he's trying to impress him. It's a game of politics. He's trying to impress him with the U.S. Weaponry. I don't know if he expected that, but obviously he knows that it's an optics game. Trump was showing strength. Why is Newsom crying? Yeah, how about the Newsom psyop? Can you believe that? I think it's a bit early for the whole Newsom stuff. Newsom's been campaigning for 3 months for 2028. We're 3 years away. We're 3 years away. I guess 2.5 from the kickoff of the primaries or whatever. But yeah, to me, I think they're launching Newsom too early. They're launching him too early, and it's just going to be stale in a year or year and a half. But we'll see what happens. I don't think Newsom's a good candidate, especially being from California with how the state has been run. But not even that, just in general, being from California, winning some of the swing states in the Rust Belt, I think it's going to be pretty tough. I don't even know, who knows if they pick him or not. It's way too early. But there's a major push by Newsom and by some Democrats to, he's right now their figurehead. He's seen as their leader because they really don't have one. So someone has to step up. So they say, well, it's Newsom. Did you see the Babylon Bee post that Pritzker joined the police force to have sandwiches thrown? Yeah, did you see the sandwich get thrown and then they chased him? What a weird. He threw like a fucking. He threw like a foot long at him. That was a heavy sandwich, dude. Wanted to ask, would you ever do a video on the Columbine mass? I know a lot about that. I do know a lot about Columbine. I don't think I'd do a video on it though. Zelensky will say no. We give up no land in broken English, and it's gonna get kicked out again. I mean, you would think they would have to have some type of understanding that there has to be wiggle room for both sides. I mean, I think it's key to say if this is true, there's going to be a withdrawal of Russian troops in the Kherson region and Zaporizhia. So, I mean, if that happens, then he should be able to. I mean, even the Donbass is not even it's not even two of the oblasts. It's like half of both of them. So it's not as much land they're giving up. So there has to be compromise. But I don't know what does Ukraine want us to do at this point. If are we supposed to just how can we tell Russia to go back across their border? What leverage do we have to do that without disrupting our own economy? We can't do that. They're not going to accept it, and we don't have the leverage to enforce it or to force them to do it. Ever do a COD Black Ops multiplayer stream? I mean, I don't think so. You see the new Battlefield game looks pretty good. Yeah, it's kind of weird how they have some of those. I don't know. Maybe it's just I remember the game modes were kind of. It's like a massive team. It kind of reminds me of Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront, with how they used to have. I like Star Wars Battlefront honestly, but Battlefield, yeah, I mean it looks decent and it's kind of there's a bunch of tryhards on there. I'm sure. I used to be good at COD multiplayer back in like 2017, 2018. I had like a 1.35 KD multiplayer. It's not bad, honestly. All right, let's see. Trump is posting. Trump makes a major statement. The press is saying Trump suffered a major defeat for allowing Putin to have a major summit in the United States. Yeah, so he's going at the press. But I mean, is this even worth the? I mean, like, I don't understand what the press is arguing here. You have to be able to have dialogue with Putin if you want a peace deal. There has to be a cordial relationship to a degree to get it done. Oh, you can't appease Putin because he invaded. But that's not how the world works. That's not how the world works. It's not sunshine and rainbows. You're gonna have to negotiate with people you don't like. This is not fucking third grade. Like, I don't understand what this narrative is. What's the land swap? It's more of a return. Ukraine getting two oblasts back in exchange for the Donbass region being annexed and Crimea being recognized. So it would be more. It's a land swap in the sense that Russia officially gets territory, but not all the territory they currently have. That's what I think it is. Also, Alaska is only in walking distance from Russia. Like, what's the deal? Right. I mean, it's obviously very close. You go through the Bering Strait. It's right next to it. But that's it's a sparsely populated area of Russia. That's why I said. I mean, I don't think Trump's going to be meeting Putin in Moscow unless there's a peace deal. I don't think that would happen because it's not like Putin came to D.C. I mean, Zelensky's coming to D.C. The media needs the conflict because if it bleeds, it leads. Yeah, but I mean, the conflict is really slow to a stop. I think people are kind of they're tired of hearing about Russia Ukraine. It feels like people have moved on from it in large part. I mean, it's really been it hasn't been a big story. I mean, it's a big story that it's happening, but it hasn't broken much news within over the past few years. I feel like, except for when there might be a peace deal or some type of agreement, or there's a big drone strike or something. But even that kind of gets brushed to the side from the news cycle that I see. These crazies would be happy to go to war with Russia. Well, I mean, they had certainly they did show a tendency to kind of, I mean, even with Biden, they were not interested in really helping Ukraine outside of, by proxy. So they did hold up on fully going to war with Russia, but I mean, when it comes to a peace deal, there has to be a cooperation with both. I mean, that's why Trump is inviting. Like, you would think this would be good. Putin only goes to Alaska. Trump gets Zelensky to come to D.C. Like, it's to me, I think that signals that we have a better relationship with Ukraine. But I guess they're still angry that Trump even met with Putin. New stadium in Hawaii, I saw that. It's a very small state. I mean, it looks nice, honestly. For Hawaii, that's good. That was a decent looking stadium if they build that. Who knows? Well, I think it's been confirmed, but they've been trying to build that stadium forever, probably for like 4 or 5 years at this point. The new Aloha Stadium, because that old one was such a just a pile of trash. That's where the Pro Bowl used to be played at, and it became a safety hazard apparently. That old Aloha Stadium. It was this weird like multi-purpose stadium that really shouldn't have been multi-purpose, and immigrants are a danger behind the wheel. Thoughts on the trucker crash in Florida? In Colorado, similar situation. Guy killed 4 people and got 4 years in prison. It's terrible. Trump changed the law. I saw a Charlie Kirk tweet. This is an illegal immigrant, by the way. This is an illegal entered in 2018 under Trump's first term, and then got, I guess because he was in California, if you look at what Charlie Kirk said, he got like sanctuary status or something. I mean, it's terrible. And he's making a U-turn with a giant 18-wheeler, and a family just runs right into the trailer. He's driving a tractor trailer. This is terrible. I mean, this is the problem. These people need to be. I mean, how hard is this? Seriously, why is this so challenging? Just stop immigration. How is that challenging? Just stop bringing people into the country. But it's such an issue. Why do you think Putin cucked Trump by inviting him to Moscow? Isn't it an honor to be inviting to their capital? No, it's because it's an honor thing. Why would Trump go to Moscow if Putin only went to Alaska? It shows a lack of effort from Putin to only go to Alaska. It's right on the border with Russia. Then Trump has to make the effort to go to Moscow. It's not good optics. If I was Trump, I would, unless the peace deal happened, I wouldn't do it. Yeah, I know. There was no emotion. There was no emotion. Entered illegally, gets CDL from Sanctuary State, California. Well, what do you mean deport? There's no sense in the crime has already happened. You're gonna deport him. It's like, yeah, this is a fake tweet. Dude, who are these people driving these massive semi trucks? These are dangerous vehicles. Yet they want to cut corners, and so they allow the illegals and the immigrants to drive them. Trump had a law that says you have to speak English. That's how far the country has fallen. These people, they can't read road signs. And then Trump put in a law earlier this year after he became president again that said you have to speak English. And then the left said that's racist. It's racist. You can't. You shouldn't. You shouldn't have to be able to read road signs. That's how it's like rage bait. No, there's never going to be a Super Bowl in Hawaii. They don't have a big enough stadium. Trump should have said, "I will come to Moscow if you make peace." Yeah, I mean, but really, what is that? You know, him inviting him. I don't think that's really going to move Putin. I think we should have a better relationship with Russia. I think that. Well, there was a rumor I saw that Trump could have both Zelensky and Putin meeting with Trump, mediating it on maybe on next Friday. I read somewhere. I don't know if that's true, but that's something that I read. Hmm. Would have been a better response. Yeah, I think he kind of just shrugged it off. Trump did. The house hunting. Now it would be like a townhome or something. I wouldn't. I'm not looking for a house. Looking for a house right now is you got to have money. I will say, man, I see a lot of nice houses being built in Texas that are relatively cheap. The design of them is not great, but these are like 30. It's got to be like 3,300 square feet for like 440. That's a good deal nowadays. It's a really good deal. Brand new too. I would never live in Texas, but I do see like the only place I see where there's affordable homes that are brand new is like suburbs in Texas. I don't know why. Those houses in Texas are built like shit. Yeah, that's a well, they say it's a bunch of illegal labor. That's another problem. Is a lot of these homes have been built by illegals, and they do it in hard. It's like the biggest misnomer around. Well, liberals will say, "Who is going to build all these homes? They won't work as hard. Americans won't work as hard." Yeah, these illegals are the ones building it all wrong. All so many new builds have been. They go through them and they show all the problems. They've got a building inspector go through the home and you see it on a YouTube short, or there's so many problems with the way these new homes are built because it's illegal labor. And then they say that, oh, they work harder. It's shoddy work. 3D printed concrete house. Yeah, those are I've seen that. It's yeah, no, I would never live in Texas. I couldn't do the heat. I'm not doing the heat. No way. McMansions. Yeah, it's like everything gets called a McMan. I wouldn't characterize some of the homes I was seeing as mansions or as McMansions, but yeah, once you get into like the 4,000 square feet, 4,500 square feet, if the home is really bland or if it's you know, then you're getting into the McMansion range. You're getting into the oversized with very little design, very cheap build, very little cheap building material. Move to New Hampshire. That's a small state, New Hampshire. The Northeast? No, I don't think I'll go to the Northeast. It went from scorching heat to Arctic that one year. Yeah, Texas can get some pretty crazy cold fronts depending on where you're at in the upper area, in the northern areas. If the jet stream dips far enough in like January or February. 4,500 square feet is really hard to take care of and expensive to heat and yeah, it is. You're talking about a $1 million home, I would imagine, at 45 or at least 700 800K at 45. What about dirt cheap townhouses in not so good areas? Don't go out past 9 p.m. Yeah, no, prioritize the area in which you live. That's the number one. That has to be number one parameter. Demographical awareness on where you live is the number one thing, 100%. You hear Nashville is a nice place to live? Yeah, Nashville is like the, the eastern side of the U.S., the up-and-coming younger crowd town. Very, very expensive suburban areas. Tennessee is nice, but people got to stop moving here. Yeah, it's a very trendy place. Is Tennessee? I think North Carolina is pretty trendy place to move to as well. What if all the illegal immigrants were super hot 23-year-old women? Would you still want to deport that? That's not even an argument. It's not even an argument. It's devoid of reality. But I'm not one of those Republicans that has a policy of, oh, we need to keep the hot ones in the country. I think that's a gooder, degenerate opinion. Demographical awareness is key. I travel for work. I Google demographics before each assignment. Instantly, you know if it's, yeah. No, that you're absolutely right. Right. But it's funny how people aren't real about that, isn't it? It's just, yeah. Why can't we set a moratorium on immigration? I don't know. I don't know why Trump wouldn't push for that. I mean, I guess you can talk about, well, that would potentially affect the economy. But I feel like Trump would be justified with the amount of illegals we have in the country to push for that. That's something that Trump used to push for during his first term, I feel like. But we would have never gotten it back then. Now you could try and implement something to... I mean, because doesn't he have he has a travel ban. So technically... There is a lot of the third world places where immigration is not allowed right now because he has a travel ban. But yeah, just overall, I mean, especially considering we don't know how many illegals are in the country. I mean, you'd think that would be bare minimum. Glad you bought your 2014 4,100 square foot home in 2020 400K, now worth 500. Yeah, 4,100. That's a decent. That's a good size. That's probably 5 bedrooms, I would imagine. It's probably 5 bedrooms, 4,100. Depending on how you use it, perhaps 4. You could say 4. Will Trump get impeached? No, Trump's never going to be completely... I mean, they could file. If the liberals take back the House, they could file, but the Senate is going to stay conservative. Unless something horrifically bad happens, there's no way they're going to impeach him because they're not getting the Senate in 2026. And I don't think they're getting the House either with the way this gerrymandering is going. The DC protests are still going on. They protest everything. They protest law enforcement. I mean, come on. All right. Yeah, I'll go ahead and play this. I never seen this one.
You know, there is concern from the Europeans that President Zelensky is going to be bullied into signing something away. That's why you have these European leaders coming as backup tomorrow. Can you?
No, it isn't. That's not why they're coming as back. That's not true. No, but that's not why. That's not true. They're not coming here tomorrow to keep Zelensky from being bullied. They're not coming.
February Oval Office meeting in front of television cameras, where President Zelensky.
Do you know how many meetings we've had since then?
Oh, no, I know. And I was just up in Alaska watching the one with Vladimir Putin where a red carpet rolled out.
No, but it was Zelensky. We've had more meetings. We've had one meeting with Putin and like a dozen meetings with Zelensky. So, but that's not true. They're not coming here tomorrow to keep Zelensky from being bullied. They're coming here tomorrow because we've been working with the Europeans. We talked to them last week. There were meetings in the UK over the previous weekend.
And they said President Trump was going to demand a ceasefire
as early as Thursday. No. But you said that they're coming here tomorrow to keep Zelensky from being bullied. They're not coming here tomorrow. Oh, this is such a stupid media narrative that they're coming here tomorrow because Trump is going to bully Zelensky into a bad deal. We've been working with these people for weeks on this stuff. They're coming here tomorrow because they chose to come here tomorrow. We invited them to come. We invited them to come. The president invited them to come.
But the president told those European leaders last week that he wanted a ceasefire. The president went on television, said he would walk out of the meeting if Vladimir Putin didn't agree with one. He said there would be severe consequences if he didn't agree to one. He said he'd walk out in 2 minutes. He spent 3 hours talking to Vladimir Putin, and he did not get one. So there's
because obviously things happened during the...
Did she just insinuate that Trump was going to get a peace deal with Putin? How is that even possible? How could Trump get a peace deal with Putin? He literally said, I have to tell NATO and Ukraine about the conversations. How can Trump get a peace deal with Putin without talking to Zelensky or Ukraine?
That meeting? Well, because obviously look, our goal here is not to stage some production for the world to say, oh, how dramatic, he walked out. Our goal here is to have a peace agreement, to end this war, okay? And obviously we felt, and I agreed, that there was enough progress, not a lot of progress, but enough progress made in those talks to allow us to move to the next phase. If not, we wouldn't be having Zelensky flying all the way over here. We wouldn't be having all the Europeans coming all the way over here. Now understand, and take with a grain of salt, I'm not saying we're on the verge of a peace deal, but I am saying that we saw enough movement to justify a follow-up meeting with Zelensky and the Europeans, enough movement for us to dedicate even more time to this. You talk about the sanctions. Look, at the end of the day, if peace is not going to be possible here, and this is just going to continue on as a war, people will continue to die by the thousands. The president has that option to then come in and impose new sanctions. But if he did this now, the moment the president puts those additional sanctions, that's the end of the talks. You've basically locked in at least another year to year and a half of war and death and destruction. We may unfortunately wind up there, but we don't want to wind up there. We want to wind up with a peace deal that ends this war so Ukraine can go on with the rest of their lives and rebuild their country and be assured that this is never going to happen again. That's the goal here. We're going to do everything possible to make that happen if it's doable. It will require both sides to make concessions. It will require both sides to get things they're asking for. That's how these deals are made, whether we like it or not.
Right, and so, you know, he gave the spiel there at the end, but, I mean, look, I don't know what she's insinuating, saying that there was going to be a peace deal with just Putin. It makes no sense. Thank you for the $5 donation. No comment. Rubio for president 2028 is your comment. Oh, that's what you wanted to say. All right, I appreciate the donation, man. I think Rubio, they're going to try and get him as VP. I don't think Rubio's going to run as for president. But then, like, this is all just, like, media spin, and... Let's see this. Zelensky claims Ukraine's constitution makes it impossible to cede land. Yeah, but, I mean, it's already possible. You've already lost the land. I don't understand what he's talking about. I guess you can't declare that you've lost land. You know what? That's a good strategy that countries should put in their constitution. It's illegal for us to lose land. That's good. Dude, this is like the ultimate cope. You really could go for a taco. Yeah, I mean, I haven't had a taco in a while. You see Zelensky dancing with the stars. That was from a while ago.
If you could tell Donald Trump anything tonight, what would you tell him?
I would tell him to grow a spine and stop being Putin's hoe.
If you
Dude, this... It's just hard to take seriously. It's just hard to take that seriously. Wretched. If we were on the show Survivor, how far do you think you would make it? It depends who I'm playing with. I don't know how far I'd make it. I think I'd make it decently far. Putin's home. I mean, but dude, like, what did the dude like? How do you respond to that? If you're this, he's like smiling. I just like, you're an elected representative. Zelensky applauds historic United States decision to offer security guarantees for Ukraine. Yeah, I wonder what's the backstory on this, or what the guarantees would be from the U.S. That would certainly get Ukraine to the table if the U.S. involved themselves in security guarantees. Healthy viewership tonight. I know, dude. You know, so I like the higher viewership. I like, you know, I got to make money at some point, right? You got to have the higher viewership at some point to try and have some relevancy. How the hell was she elected to Congress in Texas? Any Democrat will get elected. You're in a liberal enough area. Same thing with a conservative enough area. Why do people care about her? She's a clown who went to a private school. She's a provocateur. That's her job. She's a troll. She is a troll. But it is kind of funny. I mean, Putin's hoe. It's just such a ridiculous statement. Breaking 911 has Pence interview. Oh, man. Rubio has done very well under this administration, but still wouldn't trust him if he wasn't on a leash. I know, you know, it's just it's the Israel stuff with Rubio. It's like a neocon tendency. I haven't heard a ton about Rubio and him being overly involved in policy. Like with Israel, Iran, I didn't hear much at all, specifically from Rubio on his opinion. Maybe that's just I didn't see the right things, but I mean, yeah, Rubio, it's hard to trust. I mean, he's kind of, people say he's the do-it-all in the administration, you know, and people like him, and so, I mean, we'll see. Only thing Russia wants is Donbass. Yeah, it does seem like that. It does seem like Russia would be willing to accept that, but the question is Russia willing to accept the situation for Ukraine, you know, with, you know, if the peace deal entails there to be a lot of security guarantees for Ukraine, and they could view that as encroachment, so then they wouldn't accept based off of that. So there's you know, a nuance to look at the situation. And yeah, Pence is just boring. Do you think tariffs finally brought Putin to the table? Will the European leaders finally give up some on the territories? Well, you could argue it, and we could really, I could argue that Trump and his threats, because of how unique they were compared to the threats made in 2022 under Biden, it forced Putin's hand. I mean, you could argue it because of the threats onto the other countries that Russia trades with. So I don't know if that's what it was. The war's been going on for a while. There's a number of different factors that go into Russia's strategic game plan when it comes to if they want the war to be over, if they feel they have enough land to negotiate from a position of strength, they have enough leverage. There's a lot of variables that go into play in terms of them finally meeting with Trump and possibly moving to a deal. But it does seem like when Trump started threatening the eastern countries where Russia sells a lot of their oil to, or trades a lot of their oil to, it seemed like that's when Zelensky kind of was forced, or Putin was kind of forced, to try and negotiate to a degree with Trump, or at least have cooperation. Thoughts on what will happen tomorrow? I think it's going to go pretty well, honestly. To me, with Zelensky coming back, it's like a redemption thing. He's going to come back. People are going to be nice. They're going to be better with it. There's going to be maybe now Zelensky saying security guarantees from the United States, which could really help coax the peace deal.
All right, I'm back at the store. I know I was a little harsh last week about the low prices that were not so low, but I figured,
where's your mask?
I'm going to give the House Republicans the benefit of the doubt on their big, beautiful bill, and I bet the prices have dropped now. Nice little package of tomatoes. Can't wait to throw some of these down. Oh yes, love pistachios. What? Okay, time for cheese. Got some Parmesan. Excuse me? Let me try this little guy. What? All right, these must be affordable. They can literally fit in the size of my hand. What?
Dude, these videos are so retarded. They're so... You can't take a single data point from a grocery store that, maybe it's a higher scale grocery store. Maybe it's an area in which food is priced higher. You can't take single data points and say, oh, everything is so... Why don't you look at the overall inflation rate on food, which is not up? But it's like rage bait content. He's shopping in California. Yeah, I mean, it's like... But the thing is you have to contextualize everything. This is not how prices work. They don't flatline across the country in every store. But I guess liberals have to be explained that.
Okay, a lot of little kids in the house need some paper towels. Oh my god. Where's the beef? Alright, this looks good. Oh god. Maybe I'll stick to ground beef. What the? Maybe a small piece of ham will have to do.
James Comey releases a 5-minute video talking about Taylor Swift.
Hey everybody, welcome back to my Substack. Last week's cold turns out to have been COVID, quite a flashback. And Donald Trump is still president and still humiliating America on a national stage, standing next to Vladimir Putin. It's like a dream, a bad dream you can't wake up from. But I don't want to talk about that bad dream this week. I want to talk about a truly inspirational public figure named Taylor Swift. Of course, I watched her podcast interview with the Kelsey brothers. Of course, I watched the whole thing, although on YouTube, Patrice and I got kicked off for the last 15 minutes and finished it on her phone. But I watched it. You see, Taylor Swift and I go way back. I went to my first concert of hers 15 years ago. I can't listen to
this. Is it just...
And don't get me wrong, we have our jerks, millions of them, you may have noticed. In particular, there's a stunning coarseness and ugliness in the Republican Party today. It's upsetting, but it's also a minority of America. On the whole, we aren't like that, and we don't like that.
Yeah, this is horrible. Look at this U-turn. This is an illegal U-turn, and... Just terrible. Just terrible. And they've been doing it with these illegals. They'll undercut. They undercut the prices. They undercut the wages. The wages of Americans to get these jobs. This is an illegal that sought refuge in California. And it's a common story. And now there's this terrible accident, and apparently a family or 3 people are dead. It's horrible. Zero reaction. Frog, I appreciate the $10. In December, Putin offered to meet with Trump. The reason this meeting was happened because Trump wanted a way to walk back the deadline. Russia won't be bullied like Iran. Meeting was positive, but Trump needed it. Yeah. No, I hear what you're saying with the sanctions. I mean, Trump does not want to put sanctions on for sure. There's no way that you would want to disrupt your energy situation in the US. Breaking 911 has the football end zone. It's not a clip, it's just like a statement, I think. You heard Canada purged their truckers and replaced them with cheats after the Freedom Convoy. Remember that? They froze the bank accounts. Dude, what is going on with these liberal governments? The liberal governments, they want the country to, it's like the goal is to destroy the country. We don't need another country coming in to take over. We're just going to destroy I mean, I guess with an immigration to a degree that's what it is. But they just want to destroy the country. Like when you bring people in that are not that were not part of the culture, that don't want to assimilate, like what do you think is going to happen to your country? Do you think it's going to be positive? You think that's good? And then it gets turned to this whole thing to where it's like all this gaslighting about racism and you can't say that. But I don't think people care anymore. CNN in a few days why it's a good that an illegal immigrant. Well, no, you know what they'll do? They'll say, well, the vast majority of accidents are still native-born people. That's what they do, 100%. That's how they justify all the illegal immigration activity that's bad. Canada, France, and the UK going down the tubes. Well, it's been like that for a while. Is Powell going to lower rates? I hope so. I think he possibly will. Daycare worker charged with first-degree child abuse after toddler was brutally beaten. Just terrible.
This is crazy. This is crazy.
They're physically having to remove the tent. I mean, that's what has to happen, you know? That's the only way it gets solved. They have to physically pick up the tents and throw them in a dumpster. That's how they justify with men and women's sports as well. They say, well, it's only a couple of them. Ridiculous. Yeah, but that's not even... See, to me, the issue isn't even like, well, it's 1% or 0.5%. It's just like it's something that shouldn't even be part of the culture. Like this whole idea of that. I mean, we should be able to understand if you're a biological man competing in a woman's sports, you're going to have an advantage. No matter what you do, no matter how much estrogen you pump into your body, you're still going to have a built-in advantage because the males are different than females. So like, why is that not understood? Like, dude. White culture isn't perfect in America. Just go to your local Walmart and see what the average American has degraded to. I mean, maybe, on average, I mean, maybe an obesity problem, but compared to other cultures, no, it's not a big issue. I mean, there's always going to be, problems in terms of, certain people of every race, but women shouldn't be in combat roles. It's a massive liability if they're in combat roles. Massive liability. Inflation's not high, 2.7%. I know. I saw a reading where they said it was even higher. I don't know if that's true or not, but you're right. 2.7% is not bad at all. They have the target is 2.0%, but you're not going to hit the target. Like, come on. I think they know they have to lower the rates. That's why the FedWatch tool has it at like a 94% chance they're going to lower them. You feel like college promotes globalism? Dude, it feels like everything is like in the United States is promoting globalism to a degree. You think college promotes it? Well, you start seeing some of these the amount of foreign students at these colleges. It's insane. I think that's pretty. And also, I mean, when you're talking about the whole of college, you go to college, and when you've got, I mean, it's just extremely liberal. They've done studies to where 99% of the professors are liberal. So obviously that's going to rub off on the students there. And in a way, of course, it promotes globalism. It promotes modern liberalism, which is, intertwined with globalism. It's accepting mass migration, suicidal empathy. Don't they look at two different inflation numbers? They look at core inflation. There's true inflation. They don't look at that. They look at core. And the consumer price index. Ready for October, November alt season? Yeah, listen, let's hope, man. I mean, I don't see how it doesn't happen. As long as there's nothing crazy that happens. I mean, this war ends. This is even going to be a better situation for us, man. The war ends. I think I have the breaking 9-1. Here it is.
You just heard Ambassador Wickoff say the meeting was a big success. President Trump says the meeting was a 10 out of 10. What rating would you give it?
Well, first, I think the president should be commended for pursuing peace in Ukraine. This president has already secured peace agreements in Africa, Armenia, and Azerbaijan. I think he deserves credit as leader of the free world for not giving up on Ukraine, particularly, Jake, since there are many voices in and around the administration that would have cut Ukraine loose months ago. So I want to commend the president for trying to make progress. I must tell you, I would have liked to have seen a ceasefire, but the truth is that no deal is better than a bad deal. And what we heard Ambassador Wickoff describe is encouraging, that there was at least an assent in Putin's and Trump's meeting to the United States providing security guarantees. And clearly the president didn't forfeit anything having to do with America's national security or with the security of our allies in Eastern Europe in the midst of this war. But, at the end of the day, it's important to remember the bad guy here is Putin. Putin launched an unprovoked, brutal invasion more than 3 years ago.
All right, so he's saying he's saying Trump did a good job, I guess. It's the same rhetoric we hear from people like that. You need NASDAQ 420 to 10x from this point. That would be about 40 million. Yeah, hopefully it goes a lot higher than 40. But hopefully it does a 10x and then we get into the alt season. And then if it's at 40 and it does a 10x, I mean, then it's at 400. Or is it yeah, it is a 10x to 40 million from here. Oh, God. No one is above the law. What this is the NFL. They're allowing them to put this now. No one is above the law. So what they're putting is no one is above the law. That's one of the slogans. Deport illegals is another slogan. Trump 2028 is another slogan. Pence was always a rhino. Yeah, well, Pence. Just look at Pence himself. He's obviously a rhino.
Man's walking along and sees a small fire in a bush, and then he looks closer and sees a snake there. He quickly reaches in to try to pull the snake out of the fire, but the snake turns around right away and bites him. He pulls back, seeing that he's not too badly hurt. He then goes to find a stick to try to pull the snake out of the fire. Another man sees him and says, "Why are you doing that? That snake just bit you." And the man turns to him and says, "It is the nature of the snake to bite, but I will not let that change my nature, which is to help." Man's
Oh, what a little story there.
That, and not only that, I'm concerned about the way he is rolling that out in Washington, D.C., which is essentially going after young black and brown youth in Washington, D.C., imposing a curfew, saying that if they violate the curfew, the parents could be charged $500, saying that the kids could be detained and arrested. We've tried.
You know, they've actually looked at, they say it's the same like 300 to 500 kids that are causing all the problems, but because these are liberal cities, they don't keep them in jail. So if you just locked them away, the city would be like, 90% safer. That's what they say. You a lifelong Republican or a Trump guy? Well, I mean, I grew up with Trump. So I didn't grow up with I wasn't politically aware for Romney. So it's only been Trump. Now we'll see what happens with, what they decide to do after Trump. Karen Bass is literally a commie. She was obsessed with Castro back in the 70s or whenever it was. That's the eye of the hurricane. End racism is the slogan. Stop hate, choose love, inspire change. It takes all of us. I'm not playing the Comey. The Comey video, I already played it. It's just boring. He never recovered from the 25 hours. Yeah, what a waste of time that was. Nobody even cares about that. Nobody cares about that. It was irrelevant. Is Make America Great Again? Just MAGA. Just put MAGA there. What if an owner had it done? Put MAGA there. Just put deport illegals as a slogan. Just put deport as a slogan. Just the word deport. John Gruden got wrongfully blackballed in the NFL. You will watch once Gruden is back. Yeah, I don't think Gruden's coming back. I don't think Gruden will be back. So I don't think you'll be watching. But yeah, the NFL is a charade now. It's terrible quarterback play. It's the fact that you saw libs cheer for the Booker Stone is wild. Yeah, I mean, they're going to be happy because it's their team and the 25-hour thing. What's the truth about what's happening with homeless people in D.C.? They're being forced to move to shelters. They're being taken off the street. That's what I believe is happening. Thoughts on the new NFL kick? It's terrible. I mean, but what do you do? The NFL is in a spot to where these head injuries are so bad for their league, they have to try and protect it any way possible. So that's why they stopped the harder collisions by. But it looks like it's a kiddie league, like when they kick off and the players are not running and they have no momentum. It just looks bad. It looks aesthetically bad, but they have to try and stop the concussions in some way because that could ruin their league. All the concussions would be very hard for them. That's why they have all the penalties and the unnecessary roughness and the targeting, which, I mean, a lot of the times it's not even head to head, but they still call it because they have to be very careful. New DG lore just dropped. He grew up with Trump. I was talking to a dude on a plane once, and I convinced him that he was a nice dude. He just believed everything. I convinced him that I knew Trump. But this was before I even had this, or it was like, you know, I had like 70 subscribers or something. Dude, this cope is.
They can't fix the history they did. Their ancestors made this country into a slave hell. But they can clean it up now because they got the Smithsonian. They can get rid of all the slavery stuff. They got PragerU. They can lie about the history to the children. They can't originally invent anything more than they ever were able to invent good music. We black folk gave y'all country music, hip hop, R&B, jazz, rock and roll. They couldn't even invent that, but they have to call a white man the king, because they couldn't make rock and roll. So they have to stamp the king on a man whose main song was stolen from an overweight black woman.
How do I put this? If you were to compare human innovation between races, and you said, like, in terms of human innovation, what is the percent in which whites have advanced society versus blacks? I think it would be about 99.9 to 1. Or to 0.1. But notice how they have to lie about U.S. history and about the amount of slaves. You know, we had states in the North, some of the first states to ban slavery because they were Protestant. The white countries, like 9% of the stuff was invented by white men. It's all infrastructure. It's all done by white men. All the Constitution, all of the history, it's all white men. No, it should be good now. No, it should be good now. But it's just so annoying how they lie and manipulate history. Maybe I should do a video on that. It's just because, I mean, that's the only way they can justify mass immigration. Yeah, but honestly, who cares about music when we're talking about living quality? What does that have to do with an actual country's success? Which is worse, Africa or India? I believe Africa is slightly more terrible. It depends which. I mean, Africa's a massive continent. You know, you're comparing a country to a continent. Depends what country. In Africa. It's because music is... Yeah, but then they say it's like... Then she insinuates everything. Okay. Dude, if you looked up inventions and who invented the most stuff, and I've done this with ChatGPT, it's not even fucking close. I mean, in terms of, like... But then they have to lie. You recently saw a video of a black preacher yelling and saying whites founded America and made it... Yeah, I seen that video too. I've already seen that video. I went to it like 20 minutes ago. They're clearing out all the tents. States where illegals can get license. Yeah, it's... Mm-hmm. Thoughts on Hannity-Trump interview? It seemed Trump said he didn't really want to do it, but I don't know. I don't think there was much said that really was. It didn't seem like there was much said that was breaking news. So.
You want to know how against Trump I am? I got a fucking job, living in my car, okay, no address, alright? Found out that my fucking employer voted for Trump, and guess who quit? I did. And then, okay, had this fucking guy, like, all interested in me because I'm hot and young, okay, cool, and was like, I have this fucking room that you can stay in for a fucking cheaper rate, blah, 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 blah. Found out he was a fucking Trumpy, and guess who decided to stay in her fucking car? Me. Because that's how against I am of that fucking dictator.
Why don't you just leave the country at this point? These people, it's just like... Frog, I appreciate the donation. Even women right now are doing we was saying they invented Wi-Fi. And I know, and you look it up and they did not, 100%. I've seen that. They say they invented Wi-Fi, DNA, X-rays, just jealousy towards white men. It's better to just admit it. And the thing is, I think it would be important if like, why the constant lying about history? They have to lie about history to try and justify what's happening. It's lying about history to justify what's happening, because history says it's very obvious why Western Europe and the United States were successful. There's a common component, and they're trying to change that. She's not hot. Yeah, I know. It's because she gets like mid men, and so she thinks she can like boss them around. So it's a common story with women. The Pokemon stuff. Nobody cares which race are inventors, and no, it is important. It is important to understand who invented things. Innovation. Nigeria or India, which is worse, you believe? Yeah, I think that's I think that's a hard call. I guess it depends which area you are in India. India gets a lot of really bad press because of how dirty the country is. The problem with India is the air quality is very bad. So it's hard to it can be a challenge. You know, you get like issues with your lungs. India worse unless you're wealthy. Right. No, I think that's probably because there's got to be more luxurious places in India for sure. Dude, this is just constant posting. Somalia and Haiti are far worse than both of those places. Yeah, well, India's a massive country compared to those. You know, it's a population. It's harder to compare when they've got that big of a difference in population. NFL during 2010s was awesome. Yeah, I would say early 2010s. I liked the NFL a lot. Like 2013, 2014, I really liked the NFL. I was a lot younger, though. Yeah, what is going on? I'm surprised I haven't seen much from these people about Newsom. It's like they keep doing this. I'm trying to find some of that stuff. There's a poll that revealed Newsom's initiative might not pass. Defendant obtained a commercial driver's license in California. Honestly, like, when they do this because they're trying to blame this illegal immigrant causing, 3 people to die, they're trying to blame it on Trump. I guess my plea to liberals is, listen, whoever you want to blame, let's just stop with the immigration. But obviously they're going to, they don't want to do that. They're disingenuous. They're disingenuous. You're the people that want all the illegals in the country. You changed all the laws in 2021 after Biden took over on Inauguration Day to make it easier for illegals to come into the country. Every blue state wants to blame Trump for their crime and immigration issues. Well, the crime is a huge one. It is crime and immigration. That's 2 of the biggest problems that they have because they don't solve them. They're not solving either one of them. It's like, the thing is, if they try and solve either one, they're admitting Republicans are right. Like, oh, maybe we shouldn't have illegal immigration. Maybe we should have a strong border. But I mean, they've been arguing against that for years, really ever since Trump first came into the spotlight. And then the crime, I mean, they're very, very lenient on crime. They say, well, crime is, it's because people are poor, or it's race. It's subconscious racism. That's why they let people off. They keep committing the same crimes, reoffending. Hurricane Aaron news. I mean, I heard it was a Category 3. That's about it. Would you ever make a Discord? I already have a Discord. Live analysis on NASDAQ. I mean, when it does better, I'll take a look at it. It's down right now, I think. Hopefully it doesn't go much lower than it is. We'll tell you that much. Do you remember the 2021 April snowstorm? I don't remember us having a bad April snowstorm. Normally we don't. We don't really have April snowstorms. We have snow in April, but not. The new Fox scoreboard. I know, it's so bad. The design of these scoreboards is terrible. I don't know. It's like, oh, it's simplistic. It looks like shit. And another thing I hate about the scoreboards, why do they have to include the record of the team? It's just not necessary. I don't need to see the fucking team record every second. I don't think it's necessary. We know the team's record, okay? If they're fucking 4-7, I don't need to see that they're 4-7 for fucking 3 hours. How about the red states sending more National Guard to DC? I don't know, man. I mean, I wonder if it's an actual fix, though. Is it going to really fix it? Or is it a temporary thing? They have to change their policy to get it fixed. I'd love for it to be, an indefinite thing. Maybe it'll actually fix something. 2000 year, thank you for that. The H-1B immigration issue is a big problem too. Shady what companies do, lay off American workers, then hire H-1B and outsource in. Oh, now the H-1B is at the heart of it all. The H-1B is extremely anti-American worker. That's why the socialists agree with the conservatives that are against the H-1B, because it's very anti-native worker. You know, the H-1B, it's not even, these are not even elite people. These are people that are going to do entry level job like coding work and grunt work, and they're going to take less money. They're going to take less money. Did you hear Trump is trying to slow down India sending people here for tech jobs? So you mean maybe restructure the H-1B? I didn't think that was happening. I'll have to look into that. I didn't think that was happening. Yeah, so they're going at it. Illegal immigrant went to California. They said, oh, he came in 2018. Yeah, I've been seeing this. Oh, he's got a white family. You know, his policies are going to let in a lot of a lot of immigrants. That's the problem. Even though Indians are not like us, they do a better job of contributing to the American economy. Yeah, I mean, but I think the problem is, and a lot of them they will lower the overall wage situation in the country because they'll work for less. It's a problem. You know, even if they are doing work that's helping the country, they'll undercut natives for jobs. Did you see Melania's Trump letter to Putin? Yeah, I did. I saw it. You know, I mean, it was a nice letter. Newsom's dad was the personal attorney for a billionaire. Yeah, they're trying to do this caricature of Trump. I don't know. I guess liberals like it. I think it's cringy, but it's what they're trying to do. You lived in Dublin, Ohio. We got 5 inches of snow in April. 5 inches. That's. I mean, it's pause. That's. That's not a ton of snow. Maybe for April it is. He's using old jokes that aren't even his. I guess liberals like this. This is like boomer liberal slop. That's what I would classify these type of jokes as. It's like, you know, and this guy's not even. I mean, at least Trump's like the final boss boomer. He's the final boss, but this guy, he's younger, and they're still doing this. Why is Newsom typing in caps, all caps like Trump? Because he's trying to make fun of Trump's style of communication on the internet. The final boomer. Yeah, Trump is the final boomer. Pumpless coin being pumped right now. Sounds like a Solana low cap coin to me. Pumpless. It's another Solana coin. Yeah, just dude, honestly, if you just like this is all you have to do with liberals. Just say this is just more stupid liberal boomer slop. Just call it stupid liberal slop. That's really all you have to do. But this is actually just boomer slop. I mean, but they think it's funny. Okay. But now look at X. Anytime you take a screenshot, I don't even know how this works, but I guess anytime you take a screenshot, they got the trademark. Gavin Newsom is gonna run. I think that's obvious. Dude, this is embarrassing. Trump put out a statement and they're commenting on it. But now it's just desperation. But they like this, I guess. I don't know. It just comes off as very desperate. Many think Putin owns Trump. Oh my goodness. You wouldn't believe what they said in 2017 about Putin and Trump. I didn't know that. I didn't know the left thinks that if only they accused Putin of trying to help Trump win the election in 2016. I don't know, man. They actually think Putin controls Trump. That's not a new narrative. Did you see FIFA wants unpaid volunteers to work for the World Cup? No, that's pathetic. FIFA, man. It's seriously. They talk about how huge the world. All we have to hear is this constant bitching from people about how big the World Cup is. They can't even get people to they can't even pay people to work it. How's Clyde's attitude been? Yeah, he's been fine. He just sleeps. That's Soviet architecture, man. Brutalist architecture. They used to build things so amazingly, so detail oriented. Yeah, fall is the best season, bro. Trump 2028, 4 more years. Rude guy. Yeah, we get it, man. It's either fall or spring. That's when it's in between. That's when it's like 60 degrees. That's the best temperature. Spring is a bit rainy. It can be cold sometimes. Did you see that one tweet where they said Newsom is Brat? Oh yeah, it worked out so well for Kamala when they psyoped her with the whole Brat stuff. So it'll work out for him, I'm sure. And the libs also labeled him King of America because why not? Yeah. I mean, I think to me it's just like forced, but it doesn't even matter. He's getting all this momentum for what? We're not even at the midterms. Apparently, beautiful Ukrainian woman in your area wants to meet you. You want me to wish you luck? Well, I don't know the circumstances of that, but I mean, you there are some good-looking Ukrainian women, but I guess good luck, man. It's an interesting donation. You hate the spring, pollen? Yeah, I don't have any allergies. That's why I'm kind of a. I kind of don't. I don't mind the spring. Well, there were a lot of Ukrainian families that fled to the United States and other countries, when that war happened. Do you think the Trump 2028 guy is no, he's not. He's 27. I thought he was a boomer, but he's not. He got accused of it and then said his age. Well, this is not even modern architecture. This is just crap. This is just a Soviet Obama style build. You know Obama's library? Yeah, this is what it is with the fucking concrete. No NATO membership, no reclaiming Crimea from Russia. Yeah, well, that to me, those are things we already knew. Where's Trump's library? After he's done serving, they're going to have to build it. Yeah, I don't know why Obama would think that would be a good design. Also, it's like you look at all the other presidential libraries, they're not like that. That's like an oversized, crazy, like, I guess, rectangle. I don't get the argument for anyone over Trump for a peace prize other than just partisan Yeah, no, that's all it. Well, I mean, we'll see if he solves this, but that's all it is. They have a bias against Trump. That's why they wouldn't give it to him. If that ends up happening, I mean, if he solves this, then I mean, he is the mediator, so he's the one that wants this to happen. Do a video on presidential libraries architecture. I think I looked up some of them. They were kind of boring to me. I don't think it would really work well in a video format because from what I saw, the exteriors they looked pretty boring. Because when I saw Obama's, I was curious. I was like, wow. But I think Obama is the exception, not the norm. Hillary Clinton said she would nominate him for a Nobel Peace Prize, but only if Ukraine doesn't give up territory. Yeah, that's a joke. Juan, what's up? Did you see what happened with ICE in San Bernardino and them shooting at someone's door for not stopping their car during a stop? No, I haven't seen it, honestly. They're trying to get illegals out. Sometimes things happen. You ever thought about doing a video on Obama and Bush connections? Not particularly. Huh. Not that question. I don't know. I don't think that's the same person. It's like an inside joke with myself. Trump Tower is one of the best looking buildings in Chicago. You look at the Trump Towers, they are beautiful. I've been to the one in Chicago. I stayed at the one in Chicago in like 2015. They just have giant TVs. They have like a shower TV. You work, not in the traditional sense now. No, I haven't seen Happy Gilmore 2 yet, man. It's insane how much money has been spent on the Obama library. Yeah, I wonder what the comparison would be to the other presidential libraries, how much they're spending on that. It does seem ridiculous. Will Dick Fuentes run for president? Not anytime soon. I don't know if I want to check my coins right now. I'll check my coins in a little bit. Thought about doing gaming content to increase views and subs. No, that's really not how it works. It's not. That's an entirely different niche. That would not really work on a channel like this that's already built up. You think you need to do more polling content even when it is an election season? I don't know, man. It's tough. There's really not many polls, bro. The problem is the primaries haven't even happened. So if the primaries haven't happened, it's kind of hard to get matchups. Thought about streaming on Rumble. I don't see the thing is if I had more of a following, I think the multi-stream. You guys, if you don't know the industry and stuff like that, multi-streaming is this big thing that people are doing. They'll stream on YouTube, they'll stream on Rumble, they'll stream on Kick. Those are normal. That's normally the rotation. I guess Twitch as well, but I haven't seen a lot of Twitch recently. But it just doesn't. The viewership does not justify me going to another platform and diluting my YouTube viewership. I don't think that's a good idea. You think Zelensky will get Zelenskied again? Zelensky? No, I don't think so. I think it'll be more cordial. I think it'll be tame. Yeah, Kick is doing well. Kick is doing very well. Kick is doing very well, apparently. They've been doing some massive streams. I saw that stream with Mr. Beast with the water donations. People are getting angry at that for where it's going. Is there a poly market on whether Zelensky will wear a suit? It's got to be like 95, 98%. Outside content like hiking, building, gardening, car work. I don't know if it'd be any of that. Like for the channel, I don't know about that. The reason Zelensky won't make a deal is as soon as he does, he will be thrown out of office and Ukraine will install a Russian puppet so Russia wins anyways. Yeah, I don't know the dynamics of him getting thrown out of office versus how their country wants to be in the future. That is a big a big important question. You know, what happens to Zelensky? What happens to the current Ukrainian regime after the war ends? You know, I would imagine they would certainly be against Russia. So how would there be a pro-Russian government installed into Ukraine? I don't see, they're not going to vote for that democratically. Poly market, Obama arrested, like 0.1% chance. Yeah, Zelensky's had a weird history. It's just interesting how people get thrust into these roles. Keep the channel about politics. Wouldn't watch if you did gaming. Yeah, I mean that's the problem is, and also the videos would just be devalued as well. That's another thing. So it's challenging. It's challenging to change video niches. Tell Clyde to come outside. You got free cat food and a van. Yeah, I bet you would want. You probably got a nice bed. You got a nice bed for to share. You got a nice bed to share with Clyde. God, I hate some of these crypto people are so annoying. The raiders on crypto. Live, yeah, they already asked about him. They already did, Frank. I find it funny that Trump wants to take out the cartels, but his Gowls, and the FBI and CIA are the ones who consume the drugs. Based on what? I would say the vast majority of it's all criminals that consume the drugs. Maybe like a very small percentage are law enforcement. How about you do body analysis videos on press conferences? Those videos stay in your realm and give you a lot of views. Yeah, but I'm not an expert in that. I'm not. It's not something I would do. How do people know your cat's name? Because I said his name a few times. He came on stream. So that's how. Yeah, I'll take a look at the coins. Here, we got the deck screener right here. Yeah, it's holding up. I mean, it's hopefully it doesn't drop anymore. You never know. There might have been somebody sold out of this. Fucking. You know, you get the Sunday night drop. It always happens. There's always a Sunday night drop. That's the thing. It's always going to be a Sunday night drop. Yeah, Nasdaq will be fine. Nasdaq will be fine. You got to give it a few, give it a little bit. Just you got to keep holding. Trust me, I've done this before. Trust me, I know. Not financial advice. There's too much money. There's too much money in crypto right now. There's too much money for our coins to fail. Yeah, these Solana coins are just dog shit. ZBCN, not. Yeah, I don't know about those utility coins like that, honestly, man. Rizaween? Really? What did your mom think about? I mean, she doesn't care about that. You need 10 million, 10 million market cap. It was at 10 million market cap. It shouldn't be hard for it to go to 10 million market cap, bro. That's like a 3x, 2x, 2.5x. Oh, dollars? It's not gonna go to that. You maybe let's get it to $1. Let's get it to $1. That's a billion. That's a billion market cap. The BCS, really? This is this. Yeah, I mean, socialism does work in heavily white countries. Should be fun watching the Euro leaders try to stay relevant tomorrow. Yeah, that's right. They're all gonna be there. They're all gonna be there. So imagine that. That'll be another wrinkle. So that might help Zelensky. I mean, I wonder how it's gonna go in the Oval Office. Are they all gonna be meeting? No, I never saw the new Superman. Epstein coin? The Epstein coin's done, man. The Epstein, that coin never even did anything. It went to like 200K. I don't even care. Who cares? Didn't do shit. Crypto Summit coin that was made the week of the summit back in March. And a lot of those coins, those are news-related coins. They completely die out. What will happen with Texas redistrict? I believe it's going to happen. They're going to be able to get 5 more seats. They're going to get 5 more seats for Republicans relatively easily, as far as I know. Latest Epstein news, I haven't heard anything. The only thing I heard was they weren't unsealing. There was judges they were appealing to try and get some of the testimony unsealed, and it wasn't allowed. And we'll have to see what happens with Ghislaine Maxwell and whatever she says. Whatever comes out of that, I don't know. I just wonder. It's kind of interesting how people care about it. And this is what I was warning people. I said it's just the news cycle. The news cycle is undefeated. People just don't care about shit for a long time, especially something like that, which is so, so dependent on things breaking and things coming out. People are not just going to be mentioning the Epstein every single day. It's just not realistic. Because it gets old and there's other news that replaces it. Thomas Massey trying to have some attention. Dude has had one tweet. There's no tweets. Come on. People saying anything Trump does is just him trying to cover up the Epstein stuff. It's getting old. Well, it's not even true. It's just fundamentally not true. I don't think they're saying it anymore either. Best way to make money once you're debt free. Don't say crypto. Well, then it's the stock market then. It depends what your risk tolerance is. I guess it's the stock market or bonds. If you're talking about investing. Look at Ramaswamy donors. I know, Ramaswamy. I'm not a fan. Especially after what he said. Real estate. Real estate's a hassle. You got to maintain properties, man. It's a commitment. Stocks are high risk reward. I don't know, man. It depends what stocks you invest in. A lot of stocks are low risk. A lot of stocks are low risk, low reward. I would classify pretty much most stocks that people invest into low risk, low reward. That's just what it is, and it's understandable. People need guaranteed returns. Real estate investing is why no one can afford a house. Well, I think it's a combination. There's just not enough homes. There's not enough homes in these areas. There's terrible zoning laws as well. But it's a supply and demand thing. Buy Bitcoin. Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin is... It depends where you're at in life with Bitcoin. I mean, if you have a lot of money to throw into Bitcoin, I guess at this point it's like, I still wouldn't be against if people wanted to invest into Bitcoin. You have to understand what that entails and where you're buying at in the market. Because it's pumped significantly. You're buying at the top. I mean, sure, it'll keep going. It's inevitably going to keep going up eventually, but how much of an X is it going to do? Is it worth it for you to put $1,000, $2,000 into it? I would say probably not. Immigration takes up, but yeah, and a lot with the immigration, it's more people, more demand. There's going to be more demand for homes, so it's going to raise the prices of them. Zelensky arrived in D.C., really?
Go right there.
Ooh! Get that bitch.
On the hose. What's up there?
Yup. Ooh!
What's up there?
Big fella.
Security guard don't give a fuck. Oh, he got shit right now. Y'all shooting for fuck. They already gonna beat this.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Oh man! Big fella loses his drawers.
Go right there. Don't
Ooh!
run that.
House prices are going up, but no one can afford to buy at these current interest rates. Yeah, I mean the interest rates have got to go down. I think everybody knows it. It has to happen. You know, they'll say inflation is too high. It's low enough. Inflation is low enough. Yeah, the fight stuff, any of this content is just, you know. I mean, think about how much of the content have I viewed tonight. It's just all. That's the thing that I was thinking about. My recommended is just trashed. But this recommended is just, I mean, it involves a bunch of sports shit. I gotta curate a recommended for the streams that's like politics only. I don't know. But it's like on the desktop, the algorithm is different than on my phone. I don't know why. I feel like it's different. Need a little action every Sunday night. You know what I'm saying? What is that? Was that an insinuation of a strip club or something? When's the last time you took a day off? Also, well, I'll take time off. I don't really take. I mean, I don't know the last time. Normally, over the holidays, I don't really do many videos. It's bad to do videos on like the holidays. It just doesn't get views. YouTube censors the word fat. You can't call someone a fat idiot. Really? That seems weird. I haven't heard anything about the the new thing that they deployed, the new censorship program, where you have to give them your ID if you want to watch videos if they think you're underage. So I don't know. We'll have to see what happens with that. Can't take a day off because the algorithm. I mean, if you take a long period off, it is bad. I don't think a day really matters for the algorithm. But if you take like a week off or longer than that, I think it becomes a problem. They won't recommend your stuff as much. Thoughts on my Browns? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Shador Sanders didn't even play, so he got injured in practice, I guess. So it was just Dylan Gabriel. I mean, he looked okay, I thought. You really want to see Clyde? Yeah, I mean, you always want to see Clyde. And have a goddamn poll, is that too much to ask for? Dude, I mean, people want to be... There's no poll. There's not... What do you want me to put on a poll? If you could take over a league as commissioner, what would you... I would make there be no pitch clock in baseball. I think the pitch clock is terrible. I think it's just this modern bullshit of everything has to happen in 1 hour and the games end. It's like fucking Little League. With baseball, the runner on second base has to go. That's gone. With football, I'd change a lot of the uniforms back to how they were in like the 2010s eras. I think a lot of the uniforms have gotten worse. Basketball, you got to do something about the scoring. The scoring's got to go down. The scoring's way too much. There's too much scoring in basketball. You don't change to make it 10-minute quarters or anything, but because they've been talking about making it 10-minute quarters because the scoring is so ridiculous, and I don't know, they just... You think we'll get a deal tomorrow? To me, it's going to take longer than tomorrow. I think there's going to have to be another meeting after that between Trump and Zelensky. Maybe it'll be like some informal agreement tomorrow or something. Maybe they can get like some type of framework agreement, and then the official thing gets signed after that. Maybe or something like that if they push for it. Thoughts on female ump? I mean, it's whatever. I don't know. We'll see how she does. You know, they're going to be graded. She gets graded. There's if she does badly, I mean, it's. Yeah, I think the pitch clock is terrible. I can't believe people like it. It's a gimmick. It's just gimmicky. It's what about the runner on second base? These are grown ass adults. They have to put a runner on second base. They can't fucking play 13 innings. Oh, we need a runner on second base. You know, that's what we did in fucking Little League. We put a runner on second base. And people think these are pampered, you know, man babies that play these sports. These are man children. And then they still expect, like, they get all bitchy, then they get all cryy, and they're like, oh, we're going to have a lockout. The owners are so evil. We don't want there to be a salary cap. We should be able to get like $500 million in guaranteed money. They're so evil. They're so mean. All right, man. We get corporate sponsors on uniform because we're a capitalist society. Yeah, but you can still be capitalist with the preservation of a uniform. I know what you're saying. It's all profit incentive, but that doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't have to be one or another. It could be controlled capitalism or something. There's like a hybrid capitalism. You're gonna rip your hair out? I don't even know what poll to do, man. Why don't you give a poll suggestion? What do you think of female sports announcers? I don't think they're good, honestly. From the ones that I say, I don't think, and that's just me grading. It's not even, you know, against. It's just they don't. I mean, I guess the NBA ones can be okay. I'm not a big fan of it. MLB gave into ADHD with the pitch clock. Right. I think there would have been a very easy thing to do with the pitchers. I do think a lot of them took too long, but why don't you just incentivize it and say, listen, we're not putting in a pitch clock, but we will be tracking how long you take. And if you take too long, we're going to fine you or do something. You can't take a fucking hour in between pitches. It just can't happen. It cannot happen. There's going to be an issue. You have to move faster. But we can't do a gimmick 5-second shot clock thing. And the flow of the game is completely ruined when they do that. It's gimmicky, and it's not how the game was supposed to be played. And now you've got these games, they take like 53 minutes, and they're like, oh yeah, this is great. This is a great product. The game's over, like, it's like 25 minutes into the game, and they're like, oh, it's done. The game lasts, game duration, 39 minutes. Yeah, that's great. So that's like 5 minutes, the game's over. Why do you think the main Grok coin is only at 11 million? It is pretty crazy. That's true. I mean, it's just a narrative thing, I guess. But it is. I mean, that just shows you how crazy crypto. I mean, that you would think that coin would be a lot higher for sure. I mean, Grok is massive. It's a big Elon Musk narrative. It's a good question. I don't know about their team. I never invested in that coin, so I'm not sure. I've never been involved in looking at it or anything like that. I know of it. Me versus Clyde, blackjack or poker, 45 versus 9mm. What is Grok like, Hitler? Well, they changed it, you know, they had to change it. Because if AI, the way AI reasons, you know, they were trying to say it was because it was fed a bunch of stuff and used it. I don't think that's really true. I think it's a common way AI reasons, and because, you know, it's a historical reference, and, you know, AI in general is not politically correct. It just gives you facts and statistics, and so that's a problem for modern liberal societies. They can't deal with that, so they have to neuter it. But I mean, history is subjective. That is true. So it's like, it does have to get the information, and sometimes it can be opinionated a certain way from somewhere. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this live stream. I'm going to end it there. I will be seeing you guys later. Do you know gingers are black now? Yeah, I think I saw something like, you know, they were saying they acted that way. You know, it's a troll or something. All right, guys. I will see you.